Greetings all you maniacs of minds and crimes, welcome back to another Warframe weapon showcase. Today we're going to be taking a look at another syndicate weapon, the Sancti Magistar. This is a weapon I don't ever see, so it's perfect for my type of content. Now this is a hammer that you get from the New Loka syndicate. So let's go over the build. Now this is going to be my very standard build, nothing too special here. Now here's the thing with this weapon. It comes with a V polarity. Awesome. But it comes with a D polarity instead of a V for Shattering Storm. Now, Shattering Storm isn't exactly the worst stance ever, but I feel like Crushing Ruin is just so much better. Anyway, this is my standard build, Weeping Wounds, Condition Overload, all that jazz. Now, what drew me to this weapon was its base stats, to be honest, because at base, it has 30% critical chance, average critical multiplier, and 20% status. Those are pretty damn good stats, and it's not the slowest hammer in the game, but you could definitely make better with, say, Gara's hammer or a Zaw. But for what it is, this thing is fantastic. Also, this thing has a really neat feature about it. Well, two. First off, when you hold it, I think it's when you have it equipped and not just on your back in a mission, when you're actually using it, you have a resistance to status effects, which is good. That's helpful. And when you get a melee kill with a heavy attack, you heal anyone in your vicinity. I think it's based on affinity range, not 100% sure, but it heals a lot, and I will actually show that really quick with the Naros. So I'm just going to do the Inaros thing and drain my health here. I don't need to go over Crushing Ruin because nothing has changed. So I'm just going to spawn in these guys. But I'm going to spawn them in at like level 5 or something. Oh yeah, it's my max level is 140 now. Anyway, so it will heal you too. And I think it's also dependent on how tough the enemies actually are. So, let's actually respawn these enemies and spawn them at a normal-ish level. So, say 80. No guarantee that this is going to kill in one hit, but... Oh, it doesn't have to kill. So, yeah, you do heavy attacks and you heal your teammates. It's not like the most heal you ever see. But it is definitely a thing you can do. So, that's cool. That's honestly pretty fucking cool that you actually have that option to use this thing as sort of a heal stick. But anyway, let's actually get to the meat and potatoes. I'm going to spawn these guys at level 135, not 140, because that's what I've been doing, and I'm going to spawn in a heap ton of them. I know this is not very realistic, but if it can kill these guys really quick, it's going to be able to kill normal level enemies really quick. So yeah, red crit's pretty fucking fast. Hitting very hard. This is a strong hammer. This is a very strong hammer. And I knew that going in. I was like 30% critical chance, 20% status. This thing's going to be a beast. And not to mention, its base damage is pretty damn high too. Now, why do I have Viral on? Well, Viral, since it enhances basic elements, and this thing will slash with, you know, Weeping Wounds active, I said, why not? And yeah, this is it's definitely faster than the Fragor Prime. Is it better than the Fragor Prime? I say yeah. The Fragor Prime may be stronger, but the Fragor Prime is slow as balls, and this thing is relatively quick. You see there, I was hitting like 14,000 on the viral procs with red crits. So let's actually move things over and do a corrosive build because, okay, so I'll say this thing, even though it doesn't have the syndicate effect of New Loka, which is 1,000 corrosive damage and you get healed and all that. I wish it did, but I understand why it doesn't. Because if it did, this thing would be absolutely just busted as shit because, you know, you could all that elemental stuff. So obviously it's going to do better with corrosive against heavy gunners. No one saw this coming because they're weak against corrosive. But I mean, yeah. It's not constant red crits because it's only 30% critical chance. If it was like 34% critical chance, then yeah, it'd be nothing but red. Just like my Zanakana. But yeah, Crushing Ruins, block forward combo is very mobile. And yeah, this thing's pretty fucking fast for a hammer. I think my Zaw hammer is much stronger. Just overall, it's much stronger. But this thing is definitely very, very good. So, how can you make this thing always red crit? Well, you can use a Ardasva Kavat, or you can, in fact, use Gladiator Set. So I'm going to quickly do that. I'm going to lose some critical damage, but I will be able to probably proc red crits more often like this. And yeah, at the end of the day, this is just min-maxing nonsense. It really doesn't matter. So yeah, the move forward combo, you see more red crits now. A lot more red crits. Because Gladiator Set. Now if you are doing Helios, then yeah, you'll be doing nothing but red. So yeah. And not to mention, this thing has a Riven disposition of 5 out of 5. So the Rivens will be fucking insane. I assume Rivens for this weapon would be very inexpensive. But I mean, that's just me. So yeah. And you do that too, and you'll let out a healing wave when you hit enemies. So, that's absolutely fantastic. Now let's actually let's go crazy. Let's go crazy with Valkyr. Now, you can use Valkyr to make it faster, or you could also, if you don't want to use Valkyr, there is Arcane Strike. Where is it? Where is it? I only have one. Yeah, Arcane Strike. So this will give you more attack speed on hit. And since this weapon hits a lot, you're going to proc it all the damn time. So yeah, this is it's a pulverizer. This thing, it's kind of like using a sledgehammer on a watermelon. It just absolutely obliterates everything. And yeah, with this Valkyr build, with this Eternal War Valkyr, it's really, really fast. So yeah, that is the Sancti Magistar. I would heavily recommend this weapon. It can heal you and your teammates. It hits really damn hard. It's actually one of the faster hammers. Most hammers in the game really aren't all that fast when you consider everything. And also, not to mention, with its status chance with the Weeping Wounds, you're over 100% status at max combo. So if you use this thing with like Nerman, you're always going to be at max combo, guaranteed. So yeah, anyway, but really, when it comes to the element, I would recommend just do Viral if you're going to be going against a multitude of enemies. If you know you're only going to go against Grineer, I'd say Corrosive more often than not, but Viral is definitely a whole lot more universal. Now, Rivens, I would honestly say, as fast as this hammer is, attack speed wouldn't be the worst. Critical damage wouldn't be bad either. Critical chance wouldn't be bad. Base damage, that wouldn't be horrible. But really, I would say a little bit of range wouldn't hurt, even though this thing has 5.6 meters of range, which is more than enough. That's actually a pretty average range when everything considered, because if you take something like, I don't know, let me take one of my Zaws. Let me take my Sharp Stick Zaw. So it has a range of 6 meters. So 6 over 5.6. Negligible. Negligible. This thing has as much range as your average polearm Zaw, pretty much. Not exactly, but pretty much. So I don't know why I don't see it very often. The only hammers I really ever see are the Kuva Shaleg, which makes sense because that thing is an absolute monster. I see the Archititron, I see the Fragor Prime. And I very, very rarely ever see Zawhammers. Even though Zawhammers have the potential to be the most powerful fucking thing in the game. You'd be surprised. My Zawhammer that I have, my Kirkhammer Prime, points if you get that reference, is a monster. But this thing is also a monster. And the fact that it heals you and your teammates with its heavy attacks, that's just more utility. Is it a big heal? No. But it's quite a lot. You saw how much it was in healing in Naros. So any other frame, it's really going to be effective. Anyway, that's all I got to say about the Sancti Magistar. This weapon is absolutely fantastic. And not to mention, it's a giant fucking flanged mace, which actually existed in real life. So that's awesome. I mean, not that anyone really cares, it's a video game, but this kind of mace head was actually a thing in real life. It wasn't that fucking big. Fuck no, it was about the size of your fist. Something like that. But, I don't know, I just love the way this thing looks. It hits hard. Red crit, orange crit city. High base status. It's not the highest base status of any hammer, but it's up there. It's relatively easy to get your hands on. I sold one of these for 30 plat. So, yeah. The only issue that this weapon has, I would say, well, it could be faster. And also the fact that it doesn't come with a V polarity in its aura. Not aura, stance polarity. That's a bit of a problem. If you like Shattering Storm, Overcrushing Ruin, that's completely fine. You would only need one former then to do this type of build. And remember this when I do melee videos. These builds are meant for high level opponents. These builds are meant for long runs in things like Disruption and Arbitrations. They are not really meant for average gameplay. If you're doing like an average Axie Fisher, of course this is going to absolutely fucking slaughter. But keep that in mind when you look at these builds. And also keep in mind, Prime Pressure Point is only useful on stat sticks. Only. I've already talked about this, so I'm not going to mention it anymore. This is the build. So, all that being said, this thing's great. It's fantastic. It's one of the best hammers in the game in my mind, and people don't use it. Why? I don't know. Oh, but it's impact based, and impact is fucking bullshit. It sucks. If it's not slash, high status, high crit chance, it's a garbage melee weapon. Can you get your head out of the meta for 1 minute and try different things? Like this weapon? Also, I say that this is definitely the best new loco weapon. It's not even fucking close. The Sancti Tigress is garbage, and the throwing things are meh. Anyway, thank you guys so much for watching, and remember, in Trilby, we trust.